Welcome into Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Today we got a lot to cover on today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors. First up, more signs pointing to Jalen Ramsey potentially being traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ramsey being interested in joining the black and gold. And I'm going to let you guys know why I think the odds of the Steelers adding Amari Cooper and or Keenan Allen are going down by the day. And we'll finish up today's show with what it appears to be the Steelers dodging a bullet here with Shedeur Sanders, getting into some trouble there in Ohio. We'll get into that at the end of today's show, so make sure you guys stick around for my take on Shedeur. But make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, just in case a Jalen Ramsey trade goes down this weekend. It certainly seems like that is a possibility, or at least before training camp, it's a possibility the Steelers could trade for the star corner. So make sure you click that subscribe button for our breaking news coverage when and if that move comes down the pike. So let's get into kind of the latest surrounding Jalen Ramsey, because ESPN's Adam Schefter went on the Pat McAfee show today and says that Jalen Ramsey would prefer to be traded to a team on the West Coast. That would, of course, exclude the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are on the East Coast there in Pennsylvania. Schefter said this about Ramsey and the situation surrounding him. The Dolphins continue to have conversations about trading Jalen Ramsey, and I think that a trade there will get done. The question is, when does it get done? I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but Jalen Ramsey will get traded. It'll be, I would expect, before training camp. We'll see how it shakes out, where he goes. I think he would like to go to the West Coast, to the Los Angeles Rams, Chargers, somewhere like that. The price tag is something that I think if it weren't there, and let's just say he were a free agent, I think there would be more interest in him than there is now. There aren't a lot of teams that are ready, willing, and able to foot the bill for what it would take to get him. So that's why there's got to be some discussion with the Dolphins and what they're willing to take on and what the team's willing to pay and how the trade would work out. But I would expect that he gets traded at some point here. So I do think that the money situation with Ramsey's contract, it could be a sticking point with some of these teams, because they might want the Miami Dolphins to foot some of the bill of the cash that Ramsey is slated to make this year. He's slated to make $21.1 million in cash this year. Now, if you trade for him, the cap hit is not that bad, all right? Like, the roster bonus does kick in, week one, so you do have to pay that. It's split up over 4 seasons, the rest of his contract. But so it's not that big of a number, but then he's also got a base salary just over $1 million. In total, it costs $5.9 million against your cap to add him to your football team. The Steelers currently have $18.8 million in available cap space, according to Over the Cap. But Pittsburgh might be trying to get the Miami Dolphins to foot more of that bill, of that $21.1 million, because the Steelers are in active negotiations with TJ Watt concerning signing bonuses and certain cash considerations that they're going to have to be paying up front to Watt. And if they also have to pay Jalen Ramsey $21.1 million this season, the Steelers are one of the more cash-poor team ownership groups in the National Football League. So, there's certainly an argument to be made there that the Steelers might not have the funds to both get a TJ Watt deal done and pay him the money he needs up front and get Jalen Ramsey trade done because of the amount of cash that he is slated to make this year. But Ramsey himself is showing some signs in the Pittsburgh Steelers as, the Steelers try and figure something out here to land the star cornerback. Ramsey is working out at UCLA. Of course, there's a lot of different NFL players that work out there. That's not necessarily a big thing, but it is worth noting that both Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf work out there during the offseason. Rodgers is going to get a number of Steelers players to come out to UCLA at some point this offseason for a couple throwing sessions. And the fact that Ramsey's working out there, it might be a little something to look into a little bit. But to be fair, Ramsey is a West Coast guy, so it's no surprise that he's out there working out. Plus, that definitely, points to a potential connection with the Los Angeles Rams and Chargers, like Adam Schefter pointed out, because they're right down the street from UCLA. So Ramsey might be pointing to that a little bit as well. Then kind of a big story on Steelers Twitter yesterday. Apparently, Jalen Ramsey followed a lot of Steelers players very recently. Deshaun Elliott, DK Metcalf, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay, among others, on IG. So keep that in mind. And then also on Instagram, Jalen Ramsey actually liked a post from the NFL's official Instagram account talking talking about the new vets on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he liked that post. Now, there's other pictures included in the post, so it could just be, just generally speaking, he's liking a post where all these different new veterans are going to new teams. But, you know, some of these things do kind of point to Ramsey at least having some sort of interest in playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. And I do think a trade for Ramsey going to the black and gold is still very possible. I do think that the Steelers are probably trying to get Miami to take on quite a bit of that $21.1 million in cash that Jalen Ramsey is expected to make this year, or is slated to make this year, I should say. But if they can find some sort of solution here, I think that it's certainly something that could get done. I wouldn't be surprised at all, say, if the Steelers even up their draft pick to maybe like a fourth rounder. They've got multiple fourth rounders in next year's NFL draft. If, you know, say like the current price is a fifth round pick, the Dolphins will be like, if you up it to a fourth, we'll take on more money. Could certainly see an arrangement like that being worked out between the Steelers and Dolphins in the days and weeks to come. So where are you guys at when it comes to the Jalen Ramsey saga here? Let me know what you guys think. What is the percent chance that the Steelers land the star corner this offseason? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comments section. 0 meaning no chance they get him, to 100% meaning he's on his way to the Steel City. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Mando. And while I'm telling you about Mando today, let me know from a scale of 0 to 100, what is the percent chance that the Steelers land Jalen Ramsey? And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And guys, it is getting hotter and hotter outside by the day. Summer is officially here, and it's starting to get to the point in the year where if you don't have the right deodorant on, it feels like you're instantly drenched in sweat. If you have problems battling the heat and humidity, I have great news for you. Mando has just launched something that takes sweat control to the next level. Introducing the Mando Deodorant Plus Sweat Control Solid Stick. It's double protection. Finally, you get the odor control you love with Mando plus powerful sweat control. Don't wait. Grab yours now at shopmando.com and experience the double protection of Mando deodorant plus sweat control. This isn't your typical deodorant. It has clinical strength, which makes it 2 times better at controlling sweat than your standard deodorant. And it doesn't just mask odor, it prevents it. 100% of study participants experienced all-day odor protection. And unlike the other deodorants loaded with chemicals, Mando uses the only premium ingredients like gentle mandelic acid to keep you fresh all day. Guys, I actually brought my personal deodorant stick of Mando that I use every single day for filming today, just to show you guys that I actually use this product, and I absolutely love it. I never have odor control issues. I never did before I started using Mando, but for guys like Coop and some other people here at Chat Sports, they certainly needed some help from our friends at Mando, and I'm very grateful that Mando has helped them out with that. I also love their body wash. I have a full bottle of it in my shower at home, and I love their bourbon leather scent. It smells fantastic, and it keeps you smelling fresh all day long. So Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash, like I mentioned. Plus, you could also get deodorant wipes, which are highly recommended as well. Plus, you get free shipping, so there's no reason not to try out the Mando Starter Pack today. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code, and use code CHAT at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness with our friends at Mando today. Now, shifting gears here to the wide receiver search for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. And you guys know, and I've been saying this on this channel for a while now, that I would be okay going out and getting either Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, 2 kind of bigger body route runner type of wide receivers to add to this Steelers wide receiver room. That includes DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson, and others. But they haven't done that to this point. And I kind of thought that the Rodgers signing would accelerate things when it comes to landing a wide receiver. I thought that the Steelers were going to be like, all right, we got our quarterback. Let's go and get the next wide receiver to add to this receiver room after we traded George Pickens away. And I thought veteran guys like Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen's interest in playing for the Steelers might increase with Aaron Rodgers officially on the roster. But now that it's multiple weeks after Rodgers is signed, we still haven't even heard many whispers about Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen's interest in playing for Pittsburgh. In fact, we actually heard from Keenan Allen he doesn't really want to play in Pittsburgh. He did say the idea of Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football intrigues him, and you never know, but he definitely didn't sound too keen on coming to Pittsburgh. So if anything, it's in the negative direction there. I think that every single day that passes where we don't hear, about mutual interest between the Steelers and Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen, the less likely that's actually going to become a reality. Because if you think about it, like if Amari Cooper was, say, like their number one wide receiver target, and Amari was just waiting for Rodgers to sign, and there's mutual interest there between the team and the player, that I think that something would have already been done between these guys, and we would have already seen something kind of formulate pretty much shortly after Aaron Rodgers put pen to paper, but we haven't heard any rumblings of that. We still hear rumblings that the Steelers are looking to add an offensive playmaker, but Amari Cooper's name hasn't really been brought up in any really reputable circles when it comes to rumors connecting Amari Cooper to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it kind of feels like Pittsburgh has another number one option. We've heard them, make calls to Green Bay on Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks. Apparently, they made a call to Tampa Bay about Trey Palmer. They made a call to New Orleans about Chris Olave. They've been connected to tight ends like Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts, but we haven't heard a whole lot about Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen being legitimate options from the perspective of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it definitely feels like Pittsburgh's trying to get a different kind of player. Maybe they are interested in Amari. They're just trying to kick the tires and see, if they can get maybe a higher level receiver than Amari. Maybe they really want to get Romeo Doubs, and they're currently working on a deal to get him. Maybe they're working on a deal with Miami to get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey. How crazy would that be from the con artist? But it definitely feels like Amari Cooper is not their number one option at this point, because I think if that were the case, Cooper would already be under contract. But to be fair here, and to give, a little bit of grace to Omar Khan and the Steelers front office, there's still plenty of time before training camp. All right? We're still over a month away from the start of Steelers training camp in Latrobe, so they got a lot of time to figure this out, to kind of go over their options, see if anything kind of goes down between maybe Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders. Maybe that's their target right now, to see if they can get a deal done for him. Maybe they're still trying to work something out for Chris Olave and the New Orleans Saints. There's definitely a lot of possibilities out there, and the Steelers still have a lot of time to figure this out and maybe try to facilitate a trade for somebody even better than Amari Cooper. So I guess we'll see what happens in the weeks to come, but I will say this right now: the longer we go without a deal with Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen, the less likely I think it's going to happen. So predict it for me down there in the comment section right now. Which wide receiver, if any, does the Pittsburgh Steelers add to their roster before the start of Steelers training camp? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. I would be perfectly fine with Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. It's just looking less likely as the days go by. We'll finish up today with a little bit of Shedeur Sanders here in Cleveland Browns fun, as Shedeur Sanders has been caught speeding multiple times in Ohio since joining the Browns, and most recently getting caught going over 100 miles per hour in a 60-mile-per-hour highway. And there's a lot of people that are discussing this in sports media, and of course I want to give my 2 cents in here because the Browns are the Browns. But Shedeur is also outside of the off-field kind of antics that we've covered pretty extensively on the show, the bad meetings during the NFL Combine, apparently a poor meeting with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, Shedeur in the Cleveland Browns quarterback battle appears to be very solidly in that QB4 kind of slot. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback that was taken ahead of Shedeur in the NFL draft this year, all got first-team reps during mandatory minicamp and OTAs for the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders was pretty much delegated to the backup squad the entire spring, which shows you exactly where the Browns think that he is in his current development. And most teams only carry 3 quarterbacks, guys, so that's kind of putting Shedeur Sanders on the outskirts. And now the off-field stuff, the speeding, all this different stuff is only hurting his chances of even making an NFL roster this year, specifically in Cleveland. And guys, this is just another example of the organizational dysfunction of the Cleveland Browns as a football franchise. The Pittsburgh Steelers certainly haven't been, the picture of ideal, organizational, prowess, let's call it, over the last several seasons. They have been able to stay afloat despite some bad quarterback play, but it's still nothing in comparison to the Cleveland Browns, who gave all that money and all those draft picks for Deshaun Watson, and now they're bringing in a guy like Shedeur Sanders, who's not only a head case off the field, but is also not performing on the field. So it's definitely funny to kind of laugh at the Cleveland Browns in that regard. And then when it comes to the Steelers' interest in Shedeur Sanders. Ray Filipaldo from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said this week that the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't even have a top 5 round pick on Shedeur Sanders. And remember, all we heard before the draft from guys like Schefter, guys like Schrager, guys like Rappaport, all the guys the Steelers feed their information to. Oh, the Steelers love Shedeur Sanders. They're going to take him if he gets to number 20. First round passes, Steelers pass on him. Third round comes, they pass on him. Fourth round comes, they pass on him. Fifth round comes, and they pass on him, all right? And they just didn't like Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if it was the meeting. I don't know if it was necessarily the film. I didn't think his film was all that impressive, and with all the baggage that comes with Shedeur off the field, you guys remember our draft coverage on this channel. I wasn't a big fan of the Steelers going out and getting Shedeur, especially in round 1. And kudos to the Pittsburgh Steelers for making everybody in the national media and a lot of people in this fan base convince them that they were going to take Shedeur Sanders in the first round, and then he ends up all the way in the 5th round. I mean, the Steelers, as they have shown over the last several years, guys, they are the masters of the smokescreen. We want Mason Rudolph back. Then they sign Russell Wilson. We want Kenny Pickett. We believe in him. Bring in Russ, and they trade him away, and they get Justin Fields. This offseason, we want Justin Fields or Russell Wilson back. Then they sign Aaron Rodgers, right? We want Shedeur Sanders, and that's not the case, right? So I just want to say thank God the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing what they're doing. Next year's NFL draft at the quarterback position is way better than this year's. Pretty much any quarterback that they take in the first round next year, I can almost guarantee you is going to be a better quarterback than what Shedeur Sanders is going to be in the NFL in the years to come. And Aaron Rodgers gives this team the best chance to win now. So I actually think the Steelers did a really good job handling their quarterback situation this offseason. And once again, the Cleveland Browns are fumbling the ball. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. We got more Steelers coverage coming away throughout the weekend, so make sure you click that subscribe button for free, informative Steelers coverage every single day right here on Steelers Talk.